Welcome to my lesson plan video. My name is Nicole and my lesson plan is based on rainbows. Please continue watching the lesson video to see what happens. Thank you and enjoy. The use of the rainbow came into my lesson planning when the children at my early learning centre discovered a rainbow and brought it to my attention. From then on, their interest in rainbows snowballed, resulting in them doing a rainbow on the window in our room and making their own rainbows from cardboard and leftover pieces of material. The children seemed very interested in the rainbows, and this is when my lesson planning began. As I looked into it more, I discovered that I could link the rainbows to the weather and the differences of change in weather patterns. It was a very interesting topic to discover, where even my knowledge has expanded from it. It became clear to me, as beautiful as rainbows are, it was a starting point for the science-based lessons that I have written up where new discoveries are key. When I am a teacher one day, I would love to recreate these lessons in my classroom where I'll be able to make new connections and discoveries with a new group of students. In my preparation for my science lessons, I had a few books that were really useful resources in the planning of my science lessons, and they've helped me come up with experiments based on the Australian curriculum and AusVals. I was a bit sceptical of how this would come together, but to me it seems to flow quite well as a sequential set of lessons. Although my first lesson is based on the age group I am currently working with at the present time, I think the other lesson plans I've provided are more suited to the older children, which I've stated in the plans themselves. I've also provided early years framework planning, which is vital in the rainbow lesson due to it being directed at this age group. I've also opted to do a video for my science experiment, which will include pictures and record a voice as a part of it. With the noise level of my children on a daily basis, it would have been difficult to hear the audio clearly and be able to understand and comprehend what the children would have been trying to explain to me at the time. I have asked Deb de Boer for a compromise on a full video. Although I understand this lesson planning is aimed at working in groups, I have found it easier to do it by myself, as I am an online student and unable to make connections with other students while I'm working and doing my study. I know the benefits of studying groups, with the ability of collaborative learning and shared goals being able to take place. The benefits of working independently are also present in this situation, with reaching some important milestones in my own independent growth. The growth and knowledge displayed by my children far outweigh my independent growth, with the knowledge displayed by my students rewarding enough for me. The focus children for this experiment are Junior, Sarah, Jada and Kayla. Due to the specific age of my focus group, I am also providing ELF learning analysis for the children. During the experience of the rainbow, as an early childhood educator, I would expect the children to be an active part of conversation while providing their own thoughts for us to discover in a group setting. I would expect that the children are able to broaden their knowledge of the world around them and make some new discoveries along the way. The children will be able to use play to make these discoveries. I would also like them to report new findings in conversations with peers and educators. I will encourage the children to be curious about the experiment and be able to make predictions about what might happen next. The children will be able to delve into mathematical concepts and show an understanding through learning and discoveries. The children will also be able to ask meaningful questions in regards to the story they will hear and discuss these findings with other peers in the room. All ready for the story? Molly's rainbow. The sky is full of rain. See how dark and grey everything looks? Heavy raindrops are falling on Bear and Molly. Molly's putting up her umbrella to catch them. Sarah started singing, "Rain, rain, go away, come again another day." Junior, Jada and Kayla all joined in. Jada commented, "The dog is getting wet." Sarah replied, "He wants to go home to see his daddy." Now the rain is stopping. The sun comes out instead. It's too warm for raincoats and hats. The sunlight is shining through the last of the raindrops. See how it makes everything look bright and sparkly? If Molly stands with her back to the sun, she will see a rainbow in the sky. Now Molly can see the different colours of the rainbow, side by side. Dark clouds are moving back across the sun. It's starting to rain again. When questioned what colours they could identify in the rainbow, Kayla commented, "I can see purple and yellow." Junior stated, "I can see blue and purple." Sarah said, "There's orange." Molly can't see the sun anymore, and her rainbow in the sky has gone now too. Sarah discussed the fact that they were in the sky when it rains and then it's sunny at the same time. Junior commented the rainbows occur when it rains. We read this page of the book and discussed the processes we were going to follow. We had a look at the equipment we were going to use to make our rainbows, and we did some exploring. We filled up our containers with the water jugs, which we will use as a basis for our experiment. We have chosen the best mirrors we think will work for our experiments. Kayla held up her mirror. "I can't see a rainbow," she said. Junior held up his mirror. "I made one," he told Nicole. Jada moved her mirror around in the water. "Look at this," she said to Nicole. Nicole was able to create reflections on the ground and chair, which she brought to the attention of the children. The children seemed interested and tried to recreate it. The children were able to create reflections on the ground where they assumed that they had made rainbows. By the end of the experiment, Jada said, "I can't make a rainbow." Junior said, "I can't make one." Kayla said, "I couldn't do it either. I can't make a colour." Sarah said, "I can't make it." Sarah then got a singular tub of water to try and create a rainbow, but ended up just splashing in it, due to its ineffectiveness. Even I couldn't seem to make a rainbow. I could make reflections on the ground, but it seemed very difficult to actually make a rainbow. Lesson Plan 1 shows a strong link to the child's voice where it originally came from, and educators were able to scaffold learning from this point. Asequa agrees it is much easier to keep the children interested if each child is supported in the program and their sense of agency is sustained. This experiment was able to support individual children through active listening and involvement by educators. Atkin, Hunt, Roy, Salfar and Featherstone encourage early childhood practices to embrace changes in the immediate environment through discoveries and investigation, which is what I believe this lesson plan does. It worked directly from the child's interest and was implemented immediately after the rainbow was spotted, so that the knowledge and the ideas are still current in their minds. The children I chose for the experiment were also very talkative children, which made the experiment easier to conduct and reflect on, due to the fact that they were able to share genuine feelings and ideas. From Lesson Plan 1, I was able to build on the seasonal changes explored in the progressive lessons. The experiments in the sequential lessons I felt were more appropriate for prep-based students, where I added Australian curriculum and AusVals to cover these bases. I was then able to build the lesson plans from there with a core focus on seasonal changes and the influence this has on the world. Lesson Plan 1 video shows a snapshot of how 4 children I have chosen learn. It provides me an insight to scaffold learning and developing their interest in rainbows. I have chosen to make a video due to the noise levels beyond my control. While it does not show the full extent of learning that has taken place that a video could articulate, I have tried to capture the progression of learning throughout this experiment. AITSL describes the best way students learn is from teachers being intentional and understanding the way in which they learn. The approaches which were used in this lesson plan shows this, where I encourage students to ask meaningful questions and bring their opinions to light so we could make new discoveries and learn collaboratively as a team. This lesson plan is directed at the early childhood children. The ECA suggests for early childhood professionals to work with children to acknowledge uniqueness of each child and embrace this, the best way we know how. This is shown in the introduction of the lesson, where I've asked the children of prior knowledge about the rainbows, where we collaboratively discussed and brainstorm ideas. Children's Services Central discusses the importance of brainstorming ideas as an interest occurs and discussions about happenings in the learning environment. Children are very knowledgeable, and this is evident in some of the ideas that have came to light in our brainstorming session. It is vital to keep the children included with the activities that are going on in the room so they can express opinions and ideas in these matters where genuine judgments are made. This lesson plan originated from the children's current ideas and knowledge. It was easier to keep them engaged while supporting their learning through play and experimentation. The children made new discoveries and were able to share these with peers and educators. At the end of Molly's Rainbow, it discusses parent-teacher notes where it examines what makes a rainbow, which could be a very interesting follow-up activity for the children to engage with and make further discoveries. The rainbows were easier to link with the weather patterns. I could then interweave these with the seasons. It was then a matter of finding experiments that were linked with these using prior knowledge and experience as well as science books as resources. This lesson plan was directed specifically at the early years children. I found it easier to link to the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development (ELF) works, as this is the framework I use on a daily basis in my workplace. During the experience of the rainbow as an early childhood educator, I would expect the children to be an active part of conversation while providing their own thoughts for us to discover in a group setting. I would expect that the children are able to broaden their knowledge of the world around them and make new discoveries along the way. The children will be able to use play to make these discoveries. I would also like them to report new findings in conversations with peers and educators. I will encourage the children to be curious about the experiment and be able to make predictions about what might happen next. The children will be able to delve in mathematical concepts and show an understanding through learning and discoveries. The children will be able to ask meaningful questions in regards to the story they will hear and discuss these findings with other peers in the room. All of the children were able to discuss ideas in a small group experience where they showed an ability to work collaboratively with one another. The children showed strong interest in the book and an ability to articulate the words and make meaning from it. Good Start has put out a practice guide which reflects on an I-step process which involves the coming together of 5 major components to achieve ultimate holistic practices for each child. This process considers interactions, space, time, experiences and planning, and how they intertwine to lead to the essential goal of child-led learning. For the lesson plan to be successful, it is expected that all of the children are able to make a rainbow using the materials provided. If they cannot make a rainbow, I'd like the children to be able to explore the concepts behind the rainbow not working. In this case, I will encourage the children to discuss the formation of the reflections made by the mirrors, as I was also unsuccessful in my attempt to make a rainbow. In order to further my learning for next time, I will perhaps use YouTube to discuss and reflect on ideas used in further planning. For me, to be a successful teacher, it is my job to guide the children to victory by empowering them to work out their situations and problem solve to ensure success in their learning. The children were able to observe and communicate ideas and theories around the rainbows with peers and educators, where I was able to encourage them to measure and predict what might happen next. These scientific processes involved in our experiment which encouraged the children to think broadly about the rainbows and the processes that need to happen before they occur. These are the references I have used in my lesson plans. Thank you for watching my science lesson plan. I hope you enjoyed it.